Yeah.
We're ready.
And we're back for another episode of A Football's Destiny presented by Fortune Sports. I'm one of your hosts, Damon, presented as always with the other host, John, to my right. To my left is Hunter, and our surprise guest for this week, the Raiders fan to the Fortune Sports podcast, Jay.
Woo! Yeah, Woo!
Hello, welcome.
Yeah, so like I was saying,
Shalom.
she's the Raiders fan. We are doing the AFC West to continue our 2023 NFL offseason script.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Yeah, you did a great job there, bro. Great job.
But before we get into the AFC West, I think we are going to go with a little bit of news around the league since there has been quite a bit this week, actually.
That's true. Before we get started, though, Jenna, anything you want to say before we get started?
Sorry.
Yeah, you're our
I kind of
guest.
took your
I don't know.
yourself, thunder and light.
I'm JBoog710. I'm from Arizona, born in California. That's where the Raiders comes in. But yeah, I'm just working and chilling, and gymming and more. Learning
Jay
more
is
sports.
our director of content creation
Yeah.
for Fortune Sports.
Do all the marketing.
All of our wonderful photos that we have that we've been able to post.
Yeah, we wouldn't be able to get started without her. So it's really good to have her on the cast here. But yeah, I just wanted to throw that in there before we jumped into NFL news right away.
Mhm.
If you guys ever have any chance, anytime, if anything you want to talk about, go ahead and put it in the chat. And also, we do have a website called FortuneSportsCrew.com that has a whole bunch of merchandise like what Jenna's wearing right now. Woo! Jay looking good.
Thanks. Always.
Damon's hat.
Oh,
Damon's
yeah.
hat.
And Damon's
You
hat,
can
yeah.
never forget about Damon's hat.
And the coos.
And the coos. Nice coos.
Happy Dad sold separately.
If you are a Chiefs fan, Raiders fan, Broncos fan, Chargers fan, let us know in the comments. If you hate any of those teams, also let us know about that in the comments. Please like the video. It helps out the algorithm a ton. If you're not subscribed yet, what are you doing?
Yeah, what are you waiting for, bro? Might as well hop on the bandwagon now before it's too late.
One little click, that's all it takes.
Seriously.
Or reels. But all right, let's go into the NFL news around.
Some hot things
Dude.
that happened this last
Hot
2
topic.
weeks.
Well, obviously it's kind of expected because training camp just started, but yeah, there's been a lot of shit that's gone down. We can start with Giants running back Saquon Barkley signed his franchise tag. He got a whopping $1 million more than he would have been.
900,000 more, not even.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's 10.1 million.
10.1
He signed a contract
franchise.
for 1 year, 11 million.
That's a lot of money.
I mean, I don't disagree with you, but obviously running backs are a hot topic right now. On
But like, can we just appreciate his quads for a second? Say quad, Barkley. Yes, you're my dream quads. Okay, bye. Have a good one.
There's better quads in the league, but
Yeah,
you can't forget about the quad father, AJ Dillon.
true. That's true. Those are a little bit more intense.
max.
Both are solid to begin with, though.
Yeah.
All right, let's just go down the list.
All right, might as well jump into some unfortunate injuries that have happened in training camp so far. First one we're going to mention is Lions safety CJ Gardner-Johnson had a non-contact injury. Seems to be okay as far as the news are saying right now, so that's a good sign.
Definitely dodged a bullet there.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, I was nervous when I saw that the first day of training camp, but yeah, he should be all right.
And then Bills running back Naheem Hines will end up undergoing season-ending surgery to address an injury suffered as a result of being struck by another
Sorry, don't
jet
feel that.
ski rider while he was stationary. So I think this was probably the most obscure news that we got this week. Not just, I mean, technically it's not a non-contact injury, but a non-football related injury, I guess. Because obviously there was contact.
Oh
made.
my God.
He said, obviously there's contact
He
there.
got hit by the jet
Oh.
ski.
Bro, you're right. That was the most obscure news I think I've ever heard, especially when it comes to injuries that not happening on the football field. It was also very unfortunate. I hope whoever hit him knows that he is an NFL running back, just costing him a season, because that's pretty unfortunate, but it was kind of fucked up. Not gonna lie.
We kind of mentioned the running back backfield for the Bills has been kind of depleted this offseason. Obviously, there's still time for them to bring in other people, but it doesn't look like Dalvin Cook's going to sign there like they were hoping. So,
No, where do you think he's going to sign?
all indications point that he's going to sign with the New York Jets.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
He did also say that as well.
He said it should
personally
be done
said,
by Sunday.
yeah,
It's Sunday.
Sunday. So if it
Yeah.
happens while we're sitting here going live, maybe we'll
We
be
can
able to
break
be
some news.
we'll be the first ones to break it real quick.
The NFC North Jets.
Yeah,
Whatever you want to call them, Super Bowl champion Jets. At the end,
I'm not calling them
You're,
that.
you're,
Super Bowl
you're really
champion
in over
Jets.
your head there, buddy.
Next one.
Delusional.
Bears tight end Cole Kmet received a fat contract extension, 4 years, $50 million. I don't know if he deserves all that money right away because he really hasn't. I mean, he's produced in the NFL, but like this team has gone nowhere. But I mean, I guess the Bears see him as a key piece to keep around for at least Justin Fields' tenure as starting quarterback. So they liked him enough.
Crazy enough, he ended up getting.
Yeah, go ahead.
Do you think he's?
That was a good picture, Morgan.
Do you think he's
I don't
worth? Do you think he's worth more money than Saquon Barkley annually?
No.
Moving
I
on.
thought yeah,
Moving
but,
on.
I'm just gonna pretend you didn't ask that.
He's getting
just
$12.5 million
trolling.
annually.
Yeah, you're right. He's not worth that. Well, not worth more than Saquon. He might be
Speaking
worth that.
of guys getting paid a shit ton of money
That deserve
that
it.
come from the same team. Yeah, he deserves it, but shit. 5 years, 117 million extension for tackle Andrew Thomas on the
It's like
Giants.
$1,000 million.
$100 million billion trillion dollars.
Dude, you're funny.
Corrected
You're
myself.
funny.
And then
No, this one is who really deserves it. I'll take this one. Cowboys cornerback Trayvon Diggs received a 5-year, $96 million contract extension, and I love it. Not only because I own his jersey, so at least it'll be relevant for the next 5 years, but also, I think he's top. I think I said top 10, maybe top 20 corner in the league. He's not close to 20. He's not past that. He's at least in the top 20. So very well deserving, especially since somebody that we talked about last week, Marlon Humphreys, got around the same contract when his extension was
exact same.
5 years, $97 million, and he proved his worth. So I think Trayvon will do the same.
I'm going to say something real quick, and I think it's a misconception that a lot of people have in the sports world. Nobody deserves this type of money.
Okay,
You just signed that type of money.
I deserve this kind
They
of
were
money.
their ass off.
I mean,
They worked their asses off.
it's true.
So,
But also, I do agree to an extent, though, is that $100 million for one person
entertainment.
throughout 5 years is kind of wild. But, I mean, look at these NBA contracts that are coming up. Jokic, when he's supposed to sign his contract extension, it's like $400 million for 5 years.
That's an MVP.
Did you guys hear about that soccer player?
Oh, yeah, they got $770.
He turned it down.
Yeah,
Really?
he
He
did.
turned it down.
What the
He didn't want to go to Saudi, and there's indications that he's going to sign with Real Madrid.
We're talking about Mbappe, right?
Yeah.
And he was supposed to get $1 billion.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
so including
For
the
1
transfer
year.
fee, it
1
was
year.
$1 billion.
Yeah, that was 1 year, too.
300 of it would have
Ridiculous.
went to wherever the fuck. Where's he signed? PSG.
I
Oh,
don't know.
yeah, I don't know for sure.
But 300 million of it would have went to the club itself. 776 million would have been his. But he
What?
declined it because
He wants to go to a different team instead.
Real Madrid is going to offer him more money than that. it looks
Oh,
like.
shit.
How,
But-
bro? Like, what the hell?
Speaking of people that deserve a lot of money, if they do actually deserve a lot of money, Joe Burrow, calf injury this week, non-contact, super funny. The Bengals tweeted out, please stop telling us that you guys have calf muscles that Joe can have. It doesn't work that way. They said Joe will be back. So
Morgan would sell her soul for that.
If it was like a more serious injury, I feel like maybe the Bengals would take that a little bit more seriously and be like, all right, if you got a match, yeah.
Let's do
But
some
so
I mean, when I saw the video, though, it looked like an ACL or Achilles. To be honest, it looked like he tore one of those.
That's
so.
what I was honestly worried about, and obviously that left knee of his is what they have to worry about. And thankfully, this was his right leg, because I mean, obviously, you don't want to add insult to injury, but if it was his left knee, it could have been not only season ending, but it could have been career ending. So,
Yep. No. So not good news, but good news out of there because he's only looking to miss several weeks instead of the whole season. So
probably be out 4 to 6 weeks, and I mean, I think they have Trevor Simeon as their backup.
That is who
that'll
I-
yeah.
be
It would be a
little rough.
long season for the Bengals if Joe
I
Burrow-
would definitely have to change my record predictions if Joe Burrow is not under center by
Oh yeah,
week
definitely
5,
by
week 6.
nah, even shit by week 2 for me. But Imani in the chat also said he was a little late, but it's okay. We're still gonna bring it up. Saquon is the one that earned Daniel Jones's contract.
Facts.
He's
The best player on that team. He's the whole offense.
So obviously the Giants exceeded expectations last season, and part of it is in Daniel Jones, he definitely performed above the standard that he set. But that team is a 6-win team without Saquon. They were a 9-win team with him, and could have been more, obviously, for last season. They're building on that. But yeah, I 100% agree.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with that. Again, we've already talked about this. They couldn't have shaved a couple million off each year of Daniel Jones's deal just to pay Saquon.
I mean, maybe is that something they look into next year, like restructuring Daniel Jones' contract to free up some cap space? Or
Saquon's contract, his franchise tag this year does not include a clause that they cannot franchise tag him again next year. So we're going to run into this same thing again next offseason because if they didn't want to give him a long-term deal this offseason, they're not going.
I honestly don't think he's
even
gonna.
If he rushes for 1,500 yards.
If I think that relationship is already broken. Speaking of broken relationships with running backs, I'll get to that in a second. But I think, that the Saquon signed that contract because he's like, I want to play the season and prove my worth.
Yeah.
But I don't think he's a New York Giant next year.
Yeah, he said that the best place for him is on the football field, not just sitting and, I mean, he didn't say it this way, but pouting about the fact that he didn't get the money that he wanted. But I understand where he's coming from.
Well, while we're on this topic, before we talk about the other injury, before we actually get into AFC West, but let's talk about Jonathan Taylor really quick. He requested a trade from the Colts officially.
That came out. It was actually last week. They kind of kept it under wraps.
Yeah, so obviously, if you guys didn't see before, the Colts owner was basically telling the running backs, which include Jonathan Taylor, to stop crying about wanting more money and, figure it out, basically, take what you can get because it's not promised. And Jonathan Taylor and his agent did not like that. And then they went to go talk to him privately at training camp. And that conversation did not go well either. And I want to bring up what he actually said after the fact when he spoke to the media after he had the conversation with Jonathan Taylor and the trade was announced.
Spill the tea, John.
It
Spill the tea. It's hot.
Jim Irsay.
Yeah, dude, he is a senile old man.
He's kind of been this way, even since Peyton was there.
Yeah, so I've read that he's always been kind of out of pocket, I guess. He's never, when he speaks to the media, he just, like I said, senile old man. Anybody else? What do you guys want to think about it?
Yeah. Real quick, HH4 in the chat says Burrow is going down the Andrew Luck path, made of glass. It's kind of fucked up.
I mean,
The heck?
I don't know if it's that far yet, but I mean,
only time will tell with that. I don't agree with that, but
Such a small.
it is a smaller sample size, but also Andrew Luck, obviously, retired pretty damn quickly. All right, I found the quote. Sorry, it took me a little bit. He said, "If I die tonight and Jonathan Taylor's out of the league, nobody's gonna miss us because in the NFL, things just keep going." He's like, no, nobody will bat an eye if both of us are gone.
We're not trading him now. We're not trading him in October.
Yeah, and then goes to say that as well.
Jonathan Taylor will be a Colt through the season.
Kind of sad.
I mean, at this point, it's kind of holding these guys captive.
Yeah, I mean, in a sense, especially if that's how he's going to talk to, his top tier running back,
He was literally RB1 in the league 2 seasons ago.
Yeah, he led the league, and it just, I don't know. I kind of, if I'm going back, I kind of understand what he means is like we're a small stepping stone in the NFL, and this thing will go on, this league will go on no matter what happens. But at the same time, just to put death into it too. He's like, if I die and Jonathan Taylor's out of the league, kind of comparing those two things like that. I don't know. It just came off wrong vibe for me. I don't know if
it's
that's
definitely not what you're wanting to say to a guy that you're trying to get to stay with your team. He just requested a trade away from your team.
and then you say I'm not going to trade
Yeah.
you, but also if you're out of the league, nobody will care. Like that's just I don't know.
That's sad.
It might be also the Wisconsin boy talking, in me, because obviously Jonathan Taylor, one of the best running backs in Wisconsin history. Yeah,
Yeah.
but also at the same time, like I don't care who it is, it just comes off the wrong way.
HH4 wants to know if he's wrong about his take. I just want to touch on that real quick. I think it's a little bit different because I think Andrew Luck had the concussion issues, and that's kind of why he stepped away, because he realized that in the long run, like that would hurt him for after football. Whereas a knee injury, I mean, it's going to be hard to walk if you get down that path, but it's not going to hurt as much as your mental state. So I think it's a little bit wrong on that aspect. Also, I think that Joe Burrow got thrown into a system that had no offensive line. So he was getting hit a lot, so it's going to start off his career with more injury prone. I know that this one was a non-contact, so you can look at it that way of being made out of glass. But with how things are going today with repairing injuries and stuff, you can still come back from it. And I don't think this is going to be the same situation as Andrew Luck. I don't see him. I think he loves the game of football. I don't see him stepping away from it. Not to say that Andrew Luck didn't love the game of football, but
Yeah,
I think it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I agree. All right, we gotta keep moving so that we can get
Let's
to the
touch
AFC
on
West. Yeah, really quick.
Jalen Ramsey knee injury. They ended up signing Eli Apple to fill his spot for the time being.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey's going to be out 6 to 8 weeks, and obviously, if you're a Dolphins fan, you're like, we replaced one of the best corners in the league with one of the worst, in my opinion. And Tyreek Hill even tweeted about it and was like, practice is going to be fun on Monday. And then Jalen Ramsey's like, you guys play nice now.
Get along.
But
Yeah,
he's going to get cooked.
Jalen Ramsey, obviously, is still one of the top 5 corners in the league.
Yeah, I agree.
Obviously, Madden really liked him this year and has him ranked as the top corner. Obviously, several of us here have biases toward other corners, but I wouldn't argue that he is still top 5.
So, yeah, I mean, with Eli Apple having to guard Jamar Chase and T. Higgins all year last year, and it still didn't make his technique or anything much better.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to get much better if he's guarding Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. You know, obviously match up in practice with top 4 wide receivers out of, I don't know, top 15.
They say
or
iron,
the top 15.
They say iron sharpens iron, but
And when one of them's not
I was
iron.
gonna say,
to begin with.
when one's not iron, the iron dulls the other one.
Yeah, definitely. And with that, that's the perfect way to go into the AFC North. But
AFC West.
on here it says North. So
Go ahead and say it again so that we can clip it right.
said, let's go into the AFC West.
West. You're done. You're done.
On the way here, we were talking about it, and he said the NFC West.
You're just
Yeah,
jumping ahead.
yeah,
aren't you?
I'm all over the place today,
Are
I guess.
the Cardinals like your 9th favorite team?
No, not.
Like
Nope.
middle of the pack.
It's not my fault. The off-season script said North, okay? But let's start with
The Super Bowl champion.
Kansas City Chiefs. How they won again, I don't know, but
Last year they ended up 14-3, running through the AFC and beating the Philadelphia Eagles, which you were obviously happy about.
yeah, it was.
Big Chiefs fan in February, weren't you?
Yeah, it was. That's why I'm wearing the shirt.
That's the only reason.
It says Super Bowl champion on it.
Obviously, we'll do,
Tom's
our,
favorite team.
we'll do our record predictions later, but Vegas has them at 11.5 wins this year. I mean, honestly, I think that's their floor, barring any injury,
Yeah,
obviously.
definitely.
But quite a bit of movement this offseason with the Chiefs. Let's see. Lost in free agency.
There's a whole long laundry list here.
I was about to say, where do I want to start? Might as well just start. I'm going to start with Juju. Juju left after getting a ring. Went to New England, got more money than he's worth, in my opinion. Probably, I mean, I don't really know the wide receiver market specifically, but $8.5 or $8.3 million a year.
The Patriots needed it, though, wide
Yeah.
receiver, so that's where he ended up going.
They also lost tackle Orlando Brown to the Jaguars on a 6-year, $64 million deal. So obviously he likes what Trevor Lawrence has going on.
So, yeah, the Chiefs and Jaguars are just basically the swap tackles.
Yeah.
I mean, they're both very good, so, I mean, it is what it is. But
Safety Juan Thornhill also left to the Cleveland Browns. Got a 3-year, $21 million deal. Defensive tackle Frank Clark left for division rival Denver Broncos on a 1-year, $5 million deal. Lost another tackle, Andrew Wiley, to the Commanders. We talked about that a couple weeks ago. 3-year, $24 million deal. Defensive tackle, that Kalen.
Yeah.
Kalen.
I would say
Kalen
so.
Saunders went to the Saints on a 3-year, $12 million deal. We talked about this a couple weeks ago with the Jets. McCullough Hardman signed a 1-year deal with the Jets. Rojo left to Dallas, backup Tony Pollard, and Brian Edwards also left to go to the Saints, go catch some balls from Derek Carr.
So it's not in here, obviously, but I just want to talk about it. So Frank Clark left. He was big defense tackle in the middle for them, but also Chris Jones is holding out in training camp. And those are your top two pass rushers in the middle. Okay, they didn't really have much pressure on the edge last season if you're the Chiefs. Obviously, it proved that you didn't need it because they generated pressure in other areas. But you lost your starting safety. You're missing both your D tackles currently. You lost 2 offensive tackles. Like, although the Chiefs have been great, and they've proven that they didn't need wide receivers to win last year, but there's a lot of holes right now. And I mean, they did a decent job, which you're about to talk about getting some pieces back, but that's a lot of stuff to lose.
I feel like this was the same conversation that was had last offseason. They lost a lot of people from when they got beat by the Bengals in the AFC Championship the year before. And a lot of people really wrote them off. And I think that, again, the coaching staff, having guys like Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes on your team, like, even though those are both offensive players, like, they elevate everyone's game. And I think that they can really do it with anyone. It's just the key pieces that they really need, specifically those 3, their head coach, Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Travis Kelce. As long as those 3 guys are there, they're going to find success.
Yes, I can see that, but I just feel like at some point it's going to be like how many pieces are you losing is too much. Like, at some point, they're especially Patrick Mahomes' giant contract. No, just kidding. They've done a pretty good job of sailing around that.
His contract.
No, you're right.
Sorry.
No,
that contract could have been a lot larger now if he was signing it. Obviously, before the Joe Burrow injury, it was something that you and I were discussing, John. He could really demand an 8 to 10 year contract as well, just like Mahomes did. Obviously, this injury probably gives the Bengals front office a little bit more leverage, but we're not talking about the Bengals.
Yep, true.
Chiefs gained a couple people in free agency, as you mentioned. Juwan Taylor, they got him on a 4-year, $80 million deal. Be able to replace Orlando Brown.
Protecting Patrick Mahomes' backside is kind of a big deal in the NFL. So
that ankle.
Yeah, especially that. He didn't have much rest. Obviously they had a couple months off, so he should be 100%. But that kind of stuff sticks with you, especially when you play through it, like he did. Kind of lingers a little bit longer than normal injuries if you just sit out right away.
Obviously, they won the championship, so there's that to be said about it. But you could tell that there was something in their offense that wasn't there. And it was Patrick Mahomes' running game. Obviously, he had a couple scrambles and stuff.
Yeah, he had to do what he had to do.
Yeah,
but
like Isaiah Pacheco literally had to elevate his game in order for them to be able to be where they were.
Yeah, definitely. No, I 100% agree. But that $80 million is you better protect Patrick Mahomes. He's blindside, That's what that's all about.
Life or death.
They also added defensive end Charles Omenihu from the 49ers.
That's pretty good.
Linebacker Drew Tranquil from the Chargers. Tackle Donovan Smith from the Bucks. Safety Mike Edwards from the Bucks. And wide receiver Richie James from the Giants. Honestly, those last 4, not really names that NFL casuals would know. But I still go back on what I said, specifically the coaching staff. They really do know how to elevate people's games, be able to bring out the best in them. So I think that all 4 of these names are names that we could end up hearing quite a bit this next season.
I'm actually kind of high on Drew Tranquil. I mean, I didn't watch a lot of Chargers games last year, but I liked what he did in the middle. And obviously they brought in Eric Kendricks this year, so he kind of got bumped out. So it makes sense they change teams and go to a rival in the Kansas City Chiefs.
Yeah, I mean, can't beat them, join them, right?
The Kevin Durant motto. Oh. Yikes.
Kevin Durant, Drew Tranquil.
Bless.
I'd say they're on the equal playing field. What do you mean?
I mean,
No.
At least Drew Tranquil can bench 225.
Got him.
185 if you don't.
Can you lift the ball? That's it.
Yeah, he curls that ball.
This is not a basketball.
All right, sorry.
podcast.
All right. Moving on.
I'm still sorry for calling you a snake, Katie.
No, he's not.
I'm not. You are.
He did it. He did it. He did it twice, not once, but twice. So we're just gonna put that in the books.
I did it twice on public domain. There's definitely more than that. No notable trades this offseason for the Chiefs. A couple people that they were able to keep in free agency. Wide receiver Justin Watson signed a 2-year, $3 million deal. So obviously wants to run it back, win another Super Bowl. Running back Jerick McKinnon. Obviously, they kind of have a committee when it comes to running backs in Kansas City. That's how it's kind of always been. But Isaiah Pacheco will be their starter. And defensive tackle Derek Nottie, I think that's how you say it, returns on a 1-year deal as well. I like Jerick McKinnon. Definitely.
He's a big piece for them, especially like you're talking about. They had to elevate the running game because Patrick Mahomes' ankle was bothering him. That was the guy that, instead of Patrick Mahomes running, you have to be able to dump it out of the backfield and they still get 10, 12 yards, so worked out quite well for them.
Some notable draft picks from the Chiefs this year, picking late in the first round. Obviously, you can still find some talent. They got defensive end.
Good luck with this one, buddy.
Felix Anudike Uzama.
He said, can you say that second syllable again? No, just kidding.
Anudike.
A new dike.
That's what it says.
I think you did a fantastic job.
Either a new dyke or a new dick.
Okay, you're done. With
From
the
Kansas
E.
State. Should be a rotational pass rusher. Starter immediately. Round 2, pick 55. They took a wide receiver named Rashee Rice from SMU. With Juju and McCullough Hardman leaving in free agency, the Chiefs need a rotation pass catcher because most of the receivers are unproven ballers. They have one of the best wide receivers in the game. His name is Travis Kelce.
Well,
he just happens to be listed at tight end.
See, I agree with you, but he can only do so much.
Did you guys see he asked Taylor Swift for
Yeah,
he was trying to make a move?
Yeah, he said friendship bracelet.
And she said,
yeah. He
Have a
said,
good life.
and she's like, she didn't even want to do it.
Travis
I'm good.
Yeah, literally, she's like,
Oh, Jason's brother?
yeah, yeah.
You're done.
Dude. That'd be pretty savage.
That would be sad.
But,
And then in round 3, pick 92, they took Wanya Morris from Oklahoma. Obviously, we were talking about it. They lost both their starting tackles in free agency, gained one back from Jaguars. But Morris could definitely slide into that spot and be a starter immediately.
yeah, so they signed Donovan Wilson from the Bucks, but Donovan Wilson had a hell of a time trying to protect Tom Brady.
Yeah.
And I don't see him being the starter. So for a 3rd-round pick, offensive tackle, come in. I mean, it's fresh young legs. Like, do you want to take the old guy who has struggled, or do you want to try to throw the young guy kind of to the wolves? I mean, to protect Patrick Mahomes, but luckily, it's on the other side of the field instead of protecting his blind side, so you don't have to worry about that as much. But
I really do think it's these people in the last couple of drafts, specifically for the Chiefs, that have been kind of not like X factors, but definitely difference makers. So
yeah, I mean, especially because we talked about Isaiah Pacheco. Damon was huge on him last season. I give him props for that because he was like, this 7th-round pick could be him. Like, he could be the starting running back, and I was like, CEH is there. What do you mean? And now we don't talk about him at all. So
Steven's still there.
yeah, he is. But yeah, Isaiah Pacheco went ham.
Record predictions or question first?
Actually, since we talked about Rashee Rice, I want to bring this question to you guys. Okay, obviously, Hunter already brought up the best wide receiver in the Kansas City Chiefs is Kelce, but somebody's got to step up in their wide receiver room this season. Honestly, last year that person was Juju. He didn't have like a stellar season by any means, but he was able to get open. And when Kelce was double teamed, like Their running game wasn't working. Like, he found a way to make it happen. So without him now, like, who steps up in the wide receiver room? You got Sky Moore, Kadarius Toney, who is injured, and probably Andy Reid wants him to be ready by week 1, but he's losing valuable time to be like Patrick Mahomes' number 1 guy if they're not practicing in training camp right now. And then there's also MVS is still there, or their second-round pick, Rashee Rice. Out of all those guys, who do you think steps up?
Sky Moore. Yeah, obviously, toward the end of last season, started to show who he actually is. And, I mean, again, having Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, you have no excuse other than your own skill level when it comes to being successful as a wide receiver. I think that he'll take a giant step, but I think that, I mean, Travis Kelce could catch for 2,000 yards this season.
I mean, if they don't have any help, it's true. Personally, I think it's going to be Rashee Rice. I really do. I mean, I think Sky Moore will elevate his game a little bit more compared to last season. MVS, he is who he is, a deep ball threat. You know, I don't see that changing anytime soon. So I think Rashee Rice is going to come in there, and, I mean, I don't think he's going to have, like, offensive rookie of the year type numbers, but I think it'll be good enough to keep the Chiefs in, obviously, towards the top of the AFC, not just the West, the entire AFC.
I like that we all have different takes here. Personally, I think the best wide receiver in this room is Kadarius Toney. I think his only issue is that he's a hothead. He just doesn't get along with a lot of coaching staffs.
Going off of Mr. Double H in the chat, he's made of glass.
He's a little injury prone.
Just a little. I mean, in like 4 seasons in the NFL, he's probably played for half of a season.
Yeah, but when healthy, I think he's the best wide receiver in that room.
5 days ago, he has had meniscus surgery.
Nice.
So
yeah, Andy Reid was like, we're gonna try to get him ready before September 7th, but I personally don't see that happening.
No.
I don't. And also my boy H, the Andy Reid is top coach in the NFL. Yeah,
I agree with that.
100%. But he said outside of Kelce, who is also 34 years old now, the Chiefs have a very weak receiving core. So I would agree. But I think, like we talked about, one of these guys that we're talking about is going to step up. I don't know exactly who it is yet, but it's going to be somebody, I hope. Or the Chiefs are going to have a down year compared to what we think they're going to be.
Or they'll sign someone over the next 4 or 5 weeks and surprise
trade for somebody.
Yeah,
maybe. DeAndre Hopkins when he requested trade from the Titans because they're 0-7.
He
Sorry.
wouldn't do that. He's on the Texans and the Cardinals. He's used to losing.
The Texans are good then.
Yeah, you're right.
They were mid.
They made the playoffs.
Still mid.
That's above mid if you make the playoffs.
How do you think Aaron's going to feel about being on the Jets, Hunter?
Not mid.
Whoa,
Get used to
loser.
losing.
No.
Get used to it.
Funny as hell. Let's save the record predictions for the end. We talked about it before, right?
Yep.
You guys are on the same page as me? All
Chargers.
right. Chargers, baby.
Moving on to the Chargers. Not a Chargers fan, but I do have a Charger jersey on today. It's a Melvin Gordon jersey because of
Wisconsin. Buggy Badger.
Yes, sir.
Everything with
I love that you had to preface that way, just so that the world knows that you don't have 12 different.
No, I only
NFL
cheer for the
teams like
Packers.
John.
Yeah, I only have one team.
This is Hunter's dad's shirt.
I didn't say anything about the shirt. You just have 12 different teams that you cheer for.
What John meant is Hunter is his dad, and he's wearing his shirt.
Oh.
Woo. Chargers last season went 10-7, came in second in the division. Were you gonna say something?
Daddy, not dad.
Oh, sorry.
Oh.
My bad.
Whoa, gotta specify.
Vegas odds, according to FanDuel, have them at 9.5. News: Justin Herbert signed an extension, 5-year, $262 million. We were talking about next man up. I honestly thought it was going to be Joe Burrow who's going to get that contract. He probably should have. Seeing now what happened.
Is he going to be more than
Wait,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the Bengals kind of messed up. They should have signed him before they let Justin Herbert sign, because now they're going to have to go more than that.
To pay more than they're gonna be like. Joe Burrow's like, I took us to a Super Bowl, bro. What the fuck is Justin Herbert done? Like,
Yeah. Well, I was going to get into that too for talking about the Chargers. I don't think that's Justin Herbert's fault. They need to get rid of Brandon Staley.
I was about to say
That man.
Let's talk about night and day differences in coaching staff. Chiefs to Chargers.
Holy
yeah, dude,
shit.
that's true.
Has this guy ever seen a time clock? Does he know what time management is? Does he know that you're supposed to go for wins in the NFL instead of trying to get a tie?
Does he
Loser.
know that he blew the largest lead in NFL playoff history?
It was looking really good for them at
Dude.
first when it was 28-0.
Yeah, it really was.
Against the Jaguars.
Oh yeah,
What do you mean?
Trevor Lawrence is
Lawrence
him, bro.
is the next
Yeah,
coming.
yeah, dude. His contract's after Joe Burrow's. Just
Yeah,
wait for
yeah,
that.
actually.
Yeah, if he can have some sort of MVP type season.
Which I think is possible, especially where I have them in the rankings. But that's another
Yeah,
episode.
that's another episode. So back to the Chargers. They didn't lose a whole lot in free agency. Already touched on one of them, linebacker Drew Tranquill, who went to the Kansas City Chiefs. And then also lost wide receiver DeAndre Carter, who I was pretty high on last year when Mike Williams and Keenan Allen went down with injuries. I picked him up in fantasy, and he did pretty good for me. But he is also going to an interdivisional rival to the Las Vegas Raiders. Gained in free agency, they got linebacker Eric Kendricks out of Minnesota. He's getting up there in age, but he signed a 2-year deal for $13 million. I still think he's very good, even though he's kind of old, starting to get to the end of his prime, if he's not already out of the prime. But he's still a very good linebacker. They got defensive tackle Nick Williams from New York, the Giants, on a 1-year deal. No trades for the Chargers.
Bro, they had a very quiet offseason. Sorry to interrupt,
Yeah.
but there's not much going on there.
Yeah, they retained some players though in free agency. So they retained tackle Trey Pipkins, signed him to a 3-year, $21 million deal. Defensive end Morgan Fox for a 2-year,
Wow.
$7 million deal. Tight end Donald Parham, who is a beast in Madden. If you had that Ultimate Team card last year, they signed him to a 2-year, $2 million deal. He hasn't really produced in the NFL like he was hyped up to be, but that Ultimate Team card was crazy sick if you had it. John's favorite player they retained in free agency, center Will Clapp, on a 1-year deal.
Player.
Will clap. Not won't clap.
Will clap them booty cheeks.
Will Clapp. Whoa.
Well,
Whoa.
Sorry.
Gee.
Sorry.
Also,
Wrong
back-
podcast.
Pause it real quick. What noise was that? A fox does not make that noise.
He said,
Right.
"Fox,
Song
right
about
here."
this.
Yeah,
Ding,
no,
ding,
What does
ding,
the
ding.
fox say?
Pop, 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 pop.
That is
make-
literally
definitely
the
not
most
whatever the
known
hell
man.
you
do not
just
make
said.
any of those noises either, though.
They-
Wah, pow, 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 pow. What does the fox? Okay.
All right, yeah, the nostalgia going back to high school, middle school.
What?
Jeez.
Elementary school for some of us.
Damn.
Damn, I didn't overthrow shots. No, I just played.
Moving on to the draft for the Chargers. Round 1, pick number 21. They got wide receiver Quentin Johnston out of TCU. I thought that going into the draft, I kind of thought he was the best wide receiver going into it. That quickly got changed once I realized that his hands aren't the greatest. Couple of passes right to his hands that he just bricks.
Butterfingers.
TCU kind of had a easy schedule this last year and got where they were because of that. Obviously, they got absolutely exposed in the college football playoff. But
Yeah, horny frogs.
yeah.
Well,
The horny toads.
Jesus. No, we thought Jenna was on the wrong podcast. What do you guys?
Yeah,
on?
what the
Clap,
flip?
horny
I'm-
frog.
I'm PG-13 over here. Y'all are going rated
Will
X.
clap.
John will clap horny frogs.
Booty tape.
Horny toads.
Horny
You
toads.
guys are ridiculous.
That's what they're called. They're called the horny
Yeah.
toads.
I mean, you're
Yeah,
right,
yeah.
but
But no, I still think he's a good wide receiver. Do I think the Chargers should have gone with a wide receiver at this high in the draft? Probably not, because you have Keenan Allen, who is very injury prone, and Mike Williams, who's also very injury prone. But
actually,
We talked about this.
our boy HH said that in the chat too. He's like that. Well, he was kind of defending the Chargers coaching staff, saying they had a lot of injuries last year, still made the playoffs.
true.
Which is okay. Yeah, I respect that. Staley's still not a good coach in my opinion. So he said
No.
don't sleep on the Chargers, but also talk about injury prone. So hopefully, they needed a wide receiver 3. So Quentin Johnston's the guy.
We talked about this either last episode or the one before that, but like that 20 through 24 range, this draft were all wide receivers. And I think that this, again, it's one of those best available or biggest need. And I don't think that they took either here because they have wide receivers and they didn't take the best. I think that, again, Zay Flowers went after him. And I think that Zay is
That's just, to me, that's just different wide receiver
System.
rooms, though. Of they like big, tall, physical
Yeah.
receivers in
Yeah.
Los Angeles, and
Yeah.
that's what they went, and that's what they got at 6'4" Quentin Johnson, who's just big and physical, like Keenan Allen and Mike Williams, jump ball guys. Where Zay Jones is speed,
Yeah.
route running, fits inside
Flowers,
the system.
but yes.
Yeah, yeah,
I
Well,
mean,
yeah.
same thing.
Oh,
Same,
there's
same.
that.
different.
Sorry.
They're-
Yeah, my bad. But yeah,
Yeah, I just don't think that they went with best available or biggest need.
no, I think their biggest need has probably got to be either offensive line or on defensive side of the ball.
Yeah.
They need to protect Herbert better, and they need to be able to stop teams from scoring 31 points in a row.
Unanswered, unrequited.
No. Yeah, that's the key to success when you don't blow 28-point leads.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. So, I mean, I guess talking about defensive side of the ball and a lot of injuries, Joey Bosa went down with an injury last year too, didn't he?
Correct.
So that hurt, and he still is a easy top 10 pass rusher in the league. Might be top 5 if he can stay healthy, but his little brother's kind of showing him up now.
How it usually goes.
No, I disagree with
I'm
that.
just-
Oh, yikes! That shot's fired.
Maybe if he'd watch the actual podcast, I'd give him more love.
Ooh, yeah, he's gonna see that later.
Moving on with the Chargers draft picks, round 2, pick number 54. They got edge Tuli. Ooh, I got a fun one. Tuli Pulota
Yep, that's it.
Close enough.
from
No, that's
USC. So that is kind of what we were talking about, though, on defensive side of the ball. They're getting some more edge rushers, some more pass rushers to go on the other side with Bosa. Or Khalil Mack, who is still there. Give them a little rotational, a little bit of a breather. But yeah, like you were saying, Chargers offseason pretty quiet. They should be better than they were last year. I am pretty impressed that they went 10-7 with all those injuries.
You don't think they're gonna be better than last year, though?
No, you're right. I don't.
So
I'll get
here's
to
a
that.
real question for you guys: is Justin Herbert worth more than Lamar Jackson because he just got paid $2.5 million more? And obviously, this is the cycle of contracts. Whoever signs first gets the worst deal.
Right. True.
Has he done anything to prove that he's worth even the same amount of money as Lamar Jackson, let alone more?
I was pretty impressed with his rookie season. I didn't expect him to go out there and ball out the way he did. But I'm not going to sign him to a contract like that just because of his rookie season.
Okay.
Yeah.
I still
Also,
think he is a top quarterback in the league. I think he's just Staley.
also at the same time, Lamar Jackson's former NFL MVP,
Yeah.
taking the Ravens
Wow.
to. Sorry, we're getting to that, Jay. I know you're itching over there.
Raiders will never make the playoffs. Oh.
But he took the Ravens to the playoffs multiple times, and Lamar had to request a trade to get his contract. And then now they're just like, here, Justin, you can have $2 more million than Lamar, MVP Lamar, even though you lost your first ever playoff game.
Yeah,
Like,
man,
here you go, buddy. Good job. Participation trophy.
You're
Like,
done. A $2 million.
Yeah,
person.
$2
Okay.
$62 million.
I'm trying out then. If
yeah,
that's the case.
that's what it feels like to me, if I'm being completely honest. Like, Lamar struggled so hard to get that contract, but then they're just, Chargers are like, here you go.
Slap in the face.
Yeah, I mean, the Ravens spent a lot more money around than what the Chargers did.
Okay, but yeah.
Chargers got a little bit more money to throw around. Also, they're solidifying their future, I think, too, a little bit.
So what was the Ravens' future outside of Lamar
Well,
Jackson? If
I
they don't
think
sign
there's still
him.
got to be a little bit
Absolutely
of
nothing.
controversy
Not a
in the front
touchdown.
office about how much Lamar runs and that his injury could be injured. That makes the risk go up a little bit.
Him and Patrick.
You don't want to have him on a 10-year contract if he has a season or career-ending injury.
Wow.
Sorry, I don't know. I don't have running quarterbacks really.
Well,
So
what happens? Patrick Mahomes runs a lot, and he got a
Yes.
10-year, fucking $500 million contract.
that was the risk they took, and he doesn't run much more now.
Yeah, that ankle won't let him. But
Poor guy.
to answer your question, short form, no. Justin Herbert's not on the same level as Lamar. Is he close? Yes. Are they at the same level and deserve more money? Absolutely not.
They could have waited another year to give him this money.
I think it's smart that they didn't.
I think it's
I
dumb
mean,
that they
already
didn't.
picked up his 5th-year option. So
So if they waited another year, he was going to get more than Joe Burrow.
Maybe. Or they wait. Or you
Or
take another year and actually he proves to you that he should the franchise quarterback and actually takes you to the AFC divisional round at least, and then you'd be like, yeah, okay, he's worth what Lamar got.
Sometimes paying people early incentivizes them to play better.
no.
Sometimes.
Or sometimes they
Pay is based on performance.
Well, the running backs aren't getting
great.
that.
Well,
In my
I
opinion.
digress on that. I don't have a comeback for that one. Yeah, you're right.
I don't have a solution for that problem.
I mean, the running back thing, is that what we're talking about?
Yeah.
So that my only thing is like try to do contracts like the NBA players, where you just give them bonuses for being an over 1,000-yard rusher, being the leading rusher in the league, making the Pro Bowl, making the Super Bowl.
That's kind of what Saquon did with his franchise tag plus. I mean, $1 million is a lot of money in additional money, or just to him as well. I mean, if he truthfully didn't want to play, yeah.
I'm over here like I just want 10 grand.
If he,
Let's Saquon. Give me some of that.
yeah. Give me 9,000 of that 909,000. You probably won't even notice it's gone from your bank account.
So we got some, I mean, not really controversy to chat, but we got some different opinions. He on the same level as Lamar. They did him dirty though. So yeah, I don't know. They're around the same. So I agree. And then Herbert is one hell of a player. Tried playing with cracked rib cartilage and torn labrum. No, I will not try to do that because that sounds painful as fuck. And
Dude, I kind of low-key forgot about that. The fact that he got hit like that one play and then came back and just delivered an absolute dot.
Dude, and like he like threw it like super hard and then he's like immediately fell down. He's like,
that's gotta hurt so bad to twist your body like that when you have that side of injury. But it was just a dot. It was such a good pass.
Man, Sam Stein in the chat says, I agree with Damon. Running quarterbacks like Lamar are injury prone and with more risk when it comes to a contract.
It's true. Being honest.
I agree with you, but also his resume is way better.
It is. I'm also agreeing with you that I think that he should get paid more than Justin Herbert. I liked your take. I think that they're very close. I think that Lamar's better, though.
As long as, see, we agree.
Or your starting quarterback can be non-selfish and take a pay cut.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you'll be paying Aaron Rodgers $97 million next year, so good luck.
Not anymore.
Uh-huh.
With the restructure.
Yeah, he took a pay cut.
Huge pay cut.
Because
$35
just
million
to say
pay
fuck
cut.
the Packers.
It was 2 years, 110, and then now it's 2 years, 75.
Damon's crying over here.
No, Jay loved the future, baby. I don't give a shit.
They love the future of
Aaron
quarterbacks represented outside of the NFL. Future
that's
XFL stars.
Fucked up. Well, if it does come to that, we got the MVP of the XFL, so
sure.
I don't remember his name.
Also, Aaron Rodgers must have found a hell of a deal on ayahuasca.
I'm dead.
He can afford to not have $35 billion. He's like, fuck, got a hell of a deal, bro. You can have that money.
I'm not surprised that he took the pay cut, but I am surprised, especially now that he's paying New York taxes. That was a pay cut in and of itself.
Yeah.
Well, the ayahuasca dealer's just his homeless guy outside of his house.
Yeah, he keeps him around just to...
His ex-girlfriend's uncle's dog's owner, probably.
What?
Yeah.
Ayahuasca dealer.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, close enough.
Don't out him like that.
Yeah. He's watching this right now. He's
the whole
shit.
team's going to be on it soon. He's just going to be doing his own little camp where everyone goes into the woods. And
He must have tapped my phone.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers' life out after football is going to be interesting to follow.
I can't wait to hang out with him.
I love it. I love what he's doing for himself.
I want to do a darkness retreat.
Hippie life, bro.
I'm
You
good
feel
on
it,
it.
so.
Hippie life.
Nah, no.
Damon's like, I'm going to crack a beer.
He says, hello, darkness, my old
I got
friend."
too many demons that would not be good for me
They
to.
come roaring
Yeah,
out.
nah.
We'll fight with
Also,
you,
you're
David.
supposed to like stop drinking
Yeah.
for like a month or two before you
have
do
to,
that.
like,
I can't
clean
do that.
yourself.
I love beer too much. That's how I battle my demons. I don't gotta go
I
into
just
a
said
dark
that.
room.
I think
I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
said
you're
that.
right. You're right. Sorry. My bad.
I was like,
mean,
he's going to crack a beer
a
instead.
month,
Yeah,
a month or
Or
two of
50.
no beer
There you go.
for an ayahuasca experience.
I digress on that. Hey, Jay.
Ayahuasca want to talk about the Raiders now.
Yeah.
Okay. I want
That is the whole reason you are here is the Las Vegas Raiders. So Take her away. It's your team.
Am I going to be talking about it like that?
First, what we can do is just explain to our fans
Yeah,
here how you're even a Raiders fan.
Because that's what I was saying at the beginning. I grew up in LA until I was like 8 years old. My dad is a huge Raiders fan. He watches also the Cardinals more now too. Raiders fan. I have known my entire life because I was that chick who got shit in school. Like, you're a Raiders fan, bitch. I know. Okay, I'm gonna stay true though. Like, this bitch is with the Jets. Okay, we're loyal. So I'm a Raiders fan, and there's the 6-11 record. So we're gonna just ignore that because we have a
Probably
new
be
season
worse.
coming up with some new people
Well,
cutting out the old. But what do you think?
out with the old, in with the new. But the new isn't as good as the old.
Yeah. And then their odds are at 6.5 right now.
There's an argument there.
Okay. Well, we lost Derek Carr, which, I mean, whatever. He got signed over to the Saints. He's good. I'm like, whatever, get the hell out. You didn't do enough for us. All right.
I should have just spit all my water out on John.
He went to the Saints on a 4-year, $150
We can
million.
still do it.
Okay,
It was actually so close.
Yeah, dude.
I didn't even. I wasn't trying
We're
to do it
doing
on
spit
purpose.
takes over here.
Dude,
I almost did. Hey, yo, what?
That's what she said.
I'm not used.
Greasy.
Greasy.
All right.
All right.
Keep going.
He is in the Saints now for a 4-year, $150 million. Lots of money there. Again, just give me a little bit. I'll be fine. She'll be fine.
Yeah.
And then
4
tight
years,
end
150.
Foster, 4 years.
4 years, 150.
Yeah.
For a guy like Derek Carr, it's an okay contract for me. I would accept that. Like, he's kind of a mid-tier level quarterback, but
He's not up
He
there.
got just under what Daniel Jones just got paid.
so at the same time, like, an elite quarterback helps, obviously, to win the Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes. You can make it there with somebody like Jared Goff at the Rams if you have a team around them.
Doesn't mean you're going to score points in the Super Bowl.
Well,
Jared Goff.
Let's digress from that. But that's just my point that I wanted there. So
Yeah,
I'm okay with that bag because Derek Carr is a guy that could take you to the Super Bowl.
I am, but I'm not. I am in the sense that I think that Derek Carr should be paid a little bit less than a little bit less than Daniel Jones, because I think Daniel Jones has more of a ceiling that he could potentially get to than Derek Carr. But I think both those players are getting paid a little bit too much.
Yeah. Especially for not doing shit.
Whoa.
Just joking. I'm sorry. I'm a little salty with him. But we lost Foster Moreau as well to the Saints as well. They just went together. 3 years, $12 million. And then Matt Collins went to the Falcons on a year. He actually bulked up a little bit for them last season. So he's got some
Matt
gains.
Collins.
Yeah,
he's
he's
talking
looking.
about old guy. He looks.
They were like, bro, you don't even look like a
He
receiver
looks
right now. You've
And
been taking
he's-
them. I'm just joking.
He's also got like that menacing long hair coming out of the.
Yeah. The
Drug-
helmet, the
drug-
throw. type
Drug
vibe.
test incoming.
Dude, honestly, bro,
No.
he looks huge.
No, that's
Pause.
what always happens.
But then we've gained the Jimmy G. Just joking. I'm excited about that. If you guys can't tell, he's on a 3-year, $72 million. Like I said, I'm excited for that. He's gonna do. He's not. I would say his arm is not as good as Derek's at right now, but he's a better fit for the team. Like, he's gaining chemistry too with Devontae Adams and stuff like that. But
Well, I think another great thing, and you might not realize this, but Josh McDaniels used to be a coach
the
over in
Patriots-
New England
yeah.
when Jimmy G was over there, so they might still have that
they
little bit of
have
a
that
chemistry
vibe going.
offensive
He's comfortable
scheme.
with him, yeah.
Yeah.
And he's bringing the whole team over because they got Jacoby Myers too. He's just recruiting everybody. So they got them Marcus Epps from Philadelphia on a 2-year, $12 million. We got Robert Spillane and the linebacking. We got him from Christian's team. We talked about them last week, was it?
Yep.
Pittsburgh, 2-year, $7 million. And then Brandon Faison? How's that?
Faxon.
Faxon?
Close enough.
Becky, son.
Facky
I was
son.
about to say, Back Tyson.
Fakaisan.
Tyson.
Fakaisan.
However you want to pronounce it, that works.
In Indiana, 2 years, $6.5 million. And what does that mean?
He's a current.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
So the two corners that you're about to talk about, Faxon and Shelley, they were like cornerback 3s and 4s on their previous
their
teams. And now they're the current cornerback 1 and 2 of this
Duke
team.
Shelley.
So
Yeah, their defense is definitely going to be the worst side of the ball for them.
Yeah, and it's not a good division to be bad at pass defense.
definitely
Were
not.
you-
Got Chiefs and Chargers in there. And if the Broncos
Yeah,
can
yeah,
figure it out
yeah,
on
the
offense,
Broncos
that's
figure it
scary
out, yeah,
too, because their
beats.
wide receiver room's not that bad.
Yep, that's a yikes for
Yeah.
me.
Y'all done talking shit now?
Obviously,
Well, sorry.
the next one on the list.
You were gonna get so much easier than what we did when it was our
I
team's
know.
episode. So
It's because we all know.
that they suck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting here saying, I know. I'm just hopeful.
They were also able to add tight end Austin Hooper, which losing Foster Moreau and Darren Waller this offseason. Darren Waller, I think he just signed like a 1-year, $17 million deal with the Giants. Obviously, absolutely. I'm really high on Darren Waller, but $17 million for a tight end, like
Not named Travis
I was about to
Kelce.
say, if your name's not
You're not.
Travis, like
I'd give Mark Andrews and George Kittle that money.
Yeah, okay.
you had it.
I
those are
respect
the
it.
only
No,
those
yeah.
are the only other two that are even like questionable. But Travis is the only one that you don't even blink.
Yeah,
Oh, you want $17 million here?
Here's
sign
some
it.
more.
Yeah.
You want
Take
you want
20.
17 million times 2 for the next year?
Mm.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anything.
The
for
Walrus.
And then last 3.
Yep.
Darren Waller.
We
That's
got wide receiver DeAndre Carter from the Chargers. He's only on a year, and then OJ Howard's from Houston, and also Philip Dorsett from Houston for the 1 year. And then we traded away Darren Waller to the Giants, which Hunter just mentioned.
Walrus.
Little stink.
the Walrus.
And he got the 3rd round pick. What am I?
Your sound effects today are undefeated.
And then we retained Jerry Tillery on a 2-year, $6 million.
What a guy. He's
What a
the only one that
guy.
you got.
$6 million. That's like
The only guy that wanted to come back.
Yeah.
poor guy. He's loyal
And
too.
he actually just really loves Vegas.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
If they were in Oakland, he's not coming back.
There's nothing in Oakland.
That's tough.
All right.
They have the
Do
Athletics.
you want to do the draft picks?
For now, until they go to Vegas.
You guys want to do the draft picks?
Yeah, we can talk about him. They were able to pick 7th overall in this draft, and they took Tiger Wilson from Texas Tech. I'd agree with this. Best player available in the situation.
Raiders to Raiders.
So when you're the Las Vegas Raiders, you need a lot of help at a lot of different positions. So when their pick at 7 comes around, yeah, like that's why I said best available.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, this guy.
And they honestly have a pretty good pass rush with Max Crosby and Chandler Jones. Obviously, Chandler Jones is getting up there a little bit more in age now, but still been able to produce.
Is he going to be a Hall of Famer, though?
Oh, I like this topic.
We'll talk about that.
Is Chandler Jones a future Hall of Famer?
That's the question.
Before you say anything, I'm just going to read off his accolades. Okay.
Okay.
Do you
Hype him
think-
up a little bit.
The interception was pretty sick. Suck it,
That's
Patriots
it.
fans.
That's it. Just the interception.
So,
Also, Claver in the chat just super out of pocket. Can't tell if Damon just has Asian eyes or he's sleeping.
we we
Both.
got a tired lumberjack.
Tired
Oh,
lumberjack.
Yeah, because you're cutting down trees this week.
Yeah,
All
man's work.
right, is Chandler Jones a Hall of Famer? He's a Super Bowl 49 champion, 2-time first team All Pro, 4-time Pro Bowler, 511 total career tackles, 112 sacks, 34 forced fumbles, and he was named to the Patriots All 2010s team. But he's only played on that team for 4 seasons. And
To
that's
be
all.
on that team, that list has got some good fucking players.
And the
And
biggest
Yeah.
thing out of all of them, in 2019, he led the league in sacks with 19 when he was playing for the Cardinals.
So to answer the question, I don't think he's like a first ballot. Like as soon as he's
But
eligible,
an
he's
option.
in. But I think within the decade of him being eligible, he
has
gets in.
room to grow.
Yep.
Mhm.
And I mean, obviously, he's not done. Like he's
Yeah.
will only continue to add to those numbers. Obviously, he's a little bit up in there in age, so like they're not going to get that much bigger. But I mean, 34 forced fumbles. He led the league in forced fumbles forgetting what year, 2017 or 18, somewhere around there.
I was looking through in like the 10 years that he's been in the league, he's led a single or multiple defensive categories every year.
So like whether
Most
it's tackles 1 year,
most forced fumbles, like obviously not interceptions. He's not a big interception
No.
guy. You're speaking of that.
yeah, he's
but
an edge rusher for sure. But yeah, I think
in my opinion, I would say that he is a Hall of Famer at this point. What he was able to do in New England and still even be productive on a mediocre Cardinals team, I think that he's cemented himself as a Hall of Famer.
Okay.
you have opinion on that.
No, yeah, I
Yeah,
think he's pretty good. Yeah, I think
How's
he can make
good?
the Hall of Fame.
He's good.
Yeah,
Right.
I'd let him go into the Hall of Fame.
He said,
I know I have a big say in that.
Yeah,
I'm one of the
didn't
voters.
yeah, I was gonna say, did you cast your ballot this year?
Yeah, well, like you're right. Like I'm not probably gonna vote for him as soon as he's eligible, but a couple years after that, I
I
probably
mean, we see people that have played in like the '60s get in now.
Yeah.
So, saying. All right, keep going with the draft
Round two.
picks.
Pick 35. We got tight end Michael Mayer from Notre Dame. Notre Dame.
Damn.
Either way,
Notre Dame.
Maybe not that one.
either of the first two work.
Notre Dame. But yeah.
So yeah, Darren Waller leaving obviously makes sense. And what's his name? Foster Moreau. Both of them
Yeah,
leaving,
he
they
didn't
needed some
really-
tight ends. So now their tight end room is Michael Mayer and Austin Hooper. Not bad replacements. Personally, I think he was the best tight end in the draft, Michael Mayer. I honestly was hoping he'd fall farther so that the Cowboys could pick him at 46, 48, somewhere around there.
No.
But apparently other people didn't think so because Dalton Kincaid and Sam Laporta went before him. But I also like both those guys. I really like this tight end class like throughout. And a lot of tight ends went in the second round this year. Obviously, both our teams picked one as well. I'm a really big fan of this tight end class, but I think Michael Mayer will be the best out of all of them. Will he be the best this season? I think he's in the worst situation. Kincaid's on the Bills, Laporta's on the Lions, Musgrave is on the Packers, Schoonmaker on the Cowboys. So those guys are in better situations than Michael Mayer. Sorry, I had to put the emphasis on Schoon, because we've been fucking that up. But yeah, those are. I think he'll be good.
I think we'll have an okay season with Jimmy. There's just a lot of growing. They've
There's
been
some growing pains
communicating
there.
though. The practice has been good.
Better or worse than last season?
I would say around the same. If we're being completely honest.
Hey.
I'm hopeful, but like I said, they have a lot of growing room. They're trying to just get comfortable with Jimmy and take it. It's just all going to depend when it gets to the field and there's the defense there, and that's when we're going to probably get our shit right.
Yeah, having a real number one wide receiver in Devontae Adams on your team is going to
That's
take a
gonna
lot
be
of
stress.
take a lot of stress off your job as a tight end. I think
Especially if they're lined up on the same side of the field.
Yeah. So
Which I anticipate.
Losing Darren Waller and Foster Moreau, I thought was going to be a lot bigger of a hit, but adding Michael Mayer,
Foster didn't do much.
True, but he's a big boy.
Yeah.
Pause.
his Foster Moreau's job was to back up Darren Waller, and he did a very good job of that. Coming out of college, I expected a lot more out of Foster Moreau, being a LSU product. But
yeah,
I'm here for it.
HH4 in the chat says that Jimmy G will be on IR in October due to that offensive line, which can't say I disagree with that take.
I don't have
Damon
any
doesn't
excuses for that.
disagree. Derek Carr doesn't disagree.
We're gonna move on to the Broncos.
I said on that note. Speaking of teams that hope they do hell of a lot better than they did last year, these Denver Broncos.
Probably one of the most disappointing teams in the NFL last year.
By far. Has to be easily.
I had them 13-4, potentially winning the AFC West last year, and they where's nowhere.
They did worse than the Raiders.
We can. What do you think of Sean Payton's comments this week? And then his unnecessary and stupid apology.
So I think he was like, I kind of liked. Don't say this often. I kind of like how Aaron Rodgers put it. Is like he's protecting himself because if the Broncos still aren't as good as they should be, he's like, well, I needed a little bit of time to fix the culture because it was so fucked up, versus like coming in there,
He was
not
also-
saying anything.
He was also absolutely shitting on the Broncos front office that didn't change this offseason.
Yeah.
He was like, who was stupid enough to bring this guy in? The same person that was stupid enough to bring you in, Sean Payton.
So,
But he's not wrong. I mean, the guy before him was an idiot. I never liked him. I had to deal with him. Luckily, we had Aaron Rodgers who just did all the play calling instead of him trying to run the show. Which luckily he'll do the same thing.
Mhm.
That's why the Jets went out and were willing to get him, is because it's a guy that's okay with taking a back seat and letting the quarterback call plays.
So I think it's another case of just stop talking. The same thing with the coaches, the
Yeah.
Colts owner. Like, bro, there's
Did you
like,
hear what he said?
yeah, I did.
He said, I still had my Fox hat on.
That
He
was
was
just
an
like,
analyst, so he retired a couple years ago, stepped away from the Saints, and decided to stop coaching once Drew Brees left. And he joined the Fox broadcast booth as an analyst. And he said that this comment that he made, he still had his Fox hat on, and it was like, okay, well,
yeah, like
guess
he
what?
was being like a
It's-
football analyst
it's
instead
time to
of
be-
being a football
it's
coach.
time to be a head coach. Worry about your team.
Yeah,
Worry
like-
about making sure that Russell Wilson isn't gone by half the season.
Really?
No, yeah, honestly. So I agree. It's just another case of like he just stopped talking, bro. Like that personally, that's what I
Do your
think.
job. You have one job.
Yeah, you have a job to do. Stop getting in other people's business. Like the Jets. I mean, you're in the same division, but other than that, the Jets have nothing to do with what you're doing in Denver. So like,
He didn't have to Will Smith it, but I like what Aaron Rodgers said. Keep my
I'm
coach's
dead.
ouch,
name, keep my coach's name out of your mouth. And I mean, again, Aaron Rodgers is that guy. He's always been that guy. He isn't afraid to, say what needs to be said. And he's also, I mean, when someone comes at your coach like that, you have to defend him.
Yeah,
Like,
no, I agree. And they're like, obviously, Aaron Rodgers and him are like friends. So,
Yeah.
all right, enough about Sean Payton. Screw that guy. No,
well, a little bit more about him. The fact that he came over from.
Oh, yeah, I guess. Or they actually traded for him, which is weird.
Let's ride.
2024 third round pick to Denver in exchange for the Broncos 2023 first round pick and a second round pick next year. Trading a first round pick for a head coach seems kind of absurd to me,
First
but
and a second.
I guess not to beat a dead horse, but to go from Nathaniel Hackett to Sean Payton.
It is because they're Broncos.
Oh, that's funny. It took me
Yeah.
a minute.
That wasn't funny.
Nathaniel Hackett is a dead horse after this offseason. Next offseason, Sean Payton will be a dead
Dead horse.
Broncos head coach when they fire him.
Damn.
Tough.
I don't think they're
Rough life.
firing him. I think he's going to turn this team around.
Hope so, but they're not going to have the help of defensive end. I don't even want to. Ioma Wazurike. That's pretty good. I hope.
Second year player. He
Yeah,
was
he-
drafted last season.
He's suspended indefinitely for violating the NFL's policy on gambling. Can't petition for reinstatement until July 24, 2024. So, obviously, we saw this with Calvin Ridley last year.
Stop.
Since it was a year suspension, he was probably betting on Broncos games. And if anything about last season, they were betting on him to lose. He's like, man,
If
we
he was-
suck.
If he's smart, yeah.
Yeah, he's like, we suck. I'm gonna make some money off this at least. Let's
I
bet
wonder
the other
why.
team's money line.
He ain't making much there. That's why.
That's just his rookie deal.
I know. He's
Well, now he's
He's
making
worth-
nothing.
gotta make up for it.
Now
Yeah.
he's really got to start
Like,
betting.
I always say, like, why
That's
don't
it.
you have somebody else put the money on you?
Dude,
Whoa.
Yeah.
That's illegal.
No,
You
I know
can't
it's
do
so
that.
illegal, but if you're gonna do it, don't be fucking stupid.
Well,
about
okay,
it.
yeah. If
Well, I
you're
think
an
that's how
NFL
Calvin
player-
Ridley got caught, right? Because he was having somebody else doing it.
No, it was
But-
on his account.
No,
Oh,
it
was
was
on his
Yeah.
account?
See,
Oh,
what-
he's an idiot.
Yeah, like
People don't
The-
give a flip.
This stuff is tied to your guys' social security number.
yeah. So if you think you're gonna get away with it, you got
Dumbass.
another thing coming.
Like, with the implementation and legalization of sports betting over the last several years, especially nationwide over the last 2 years, like, you don't think that the Broncos are running reports on this type of stuff? Like, you don't think the NFL as a whole is running, like,
They are. It's like auditing. Like someone's
yeah,
always
there's
watching.
always an audit happening.
Big brother is watching.
So,
Big brother.
but
All right.
he'll be able to apply for reinstatement next year. again,
Calvin
Ridley
you
situation.
got it pretty quick. Yeah.
Hopefully, this next year he takes his off the field issues as well as his on field training seriously, so that he can come back.
So the difference between this guy and Calvin Ridley is like Calvin Ridley was an established
Absolutely,
like
wide receiver
NFL
one.
player, yeah. And now this guy is like a second-year player, like you're saying, like fighting to earn a second contract.
Not that there's any indication of this, but this is the type of thing that if he doesn't take it seriously, both his off the field issues and training, because he's not even allowed to be at the Broncos training facility for a year.
No, yeah,
So,
have it's all you.
so,
You're on your own.
I mean, again, there's no indication of this, but he could have played his last down in the NFL just because he decided that betting was more important than his job.
Oh, yeah. That's the way to put it. But all right, let's talk more about the Broncos. Bill Lawson free agency, defensive end Draymond Jones to Seattle, 3 years, $51 million contract. That's a pretty fat bag. And then also tackle Calvin Anderson, guard Graham Glasgow, and running back Mike Boone. Mike Boone did a pretty good job filling in when he was healthy. He was a pretty good pass catching back. He's on his way to Houston.
Question in the chat from HH4: is fantasy football considered gambling for NFL personnel? I don't think so because a lot of NFL players are in fantasy leagues.
So you're allowed to be in a fantasy.
Just can't be a payout.
Can't, yeah, you can't gain something for being in it.
Well, if it's just a trophy.
I mean that's different.
No monetary value.
Yeah, like
that has value.
Well,
no monetary value.
I take my trophy very.
But that yes.
Monetary.
No, I'm just
No.
re-emphasizing
Yeah.
it to David.
It's very valuable to me.
It can be, but it's also not.
It's Damon
It can be
Terry.
both. It
It's
doesn't
not
have to be one or
monetary.
the other.
It's Damon Terry.
values his Crocs higher than I would, because I would value them at nothing.
I would also.
Don't talk
They
about
have
my
sport
Crocs,
mode,
bro.
bro. What?
Just-
I got you, bro. I got you.
Just because they're Johns.
Yeah, they're stinky.
Oh Jesus! All right, I'm moving
Do
on.
you lift in them, bro?
He goes
Yeah.
out and tans at them though. He's got weird spots on his feet.
I think they're gone now.
You guys are just throwing me under the bus here. I'm talking about the Broncos, motherfuckers.
They got weird spots on them too.
That's true. Especially since they got tackle Mike McGlinchey. No, just kidding. That guy's pretty damn good.
Apples and bananas.
Yeah. But,
Apples and onions.
but obviously they saw their offensive line as an issue because they went to go get Mr. Glinchy, sorry. And
Ben
also
Powers.
guard who's no relation to Christian, Ben Powers. And distant cousin. They also got defensive end Zach Allen from the Arizona Cardinals, 3 year, $47 million contract. That's kind of a fat one, too.
Mhm.
Defensive end Frank Clark, we talked about. Running back, Samaje Perine, who might be the RB1 if Javonte Williams is not ready to go at the beginning of the season. And I think he was one of the best backups in the NFL last year. Damon's not high on him, but the Pokemon might make it.
The Pokemon.
And then also wide receiver Marquez Callaway from New Orleans came over. I don't think he'll see much playing time. Let's talk about
their wide receiver rooms.
Yeah, pretty stacked
Yep.
to begin with. Trades, they did get a tight end, Adam Trotman, and a 2023 7th-round pick from New Orleans for a 6th-round pick. Adam Trotman's probably the tight end 2 there because Greg Dulcich is probably 1, and he will be for the foreseeable future. They retained in free agency linebacker Alex Singleton, 3 years, $18 million, and strong safety Kareem Jackson on a 1-year deal. This man is also 35 years old, so they should be looking for a safety here in the near future.
I think that he was hoping this last season with Russell Wilson coming there that they were going to be able to compete a little bit more. And obviously, coming back on a 1-year deal, it's going to be
Yeah, at your age,
win or go home.
literally.
Win or go to the retirement home.
All right, let's talk about their draft picks really quick. Round 2 pick 63, they drafted wide receiver Marvin Mims Jr. out of Oklahoma. He is a speedy deep threat in Sean Payton's play action pass scheme.
That's a speedy deep threat.
Speedy deep threat.
Nice.
Now, Sean Payton's notorious
What
for
the
running.
fuck? What are we doing?
Sean Payton's notorious for running play action pass schemes. And obviously the Broncos had a pretty good running game in the not so distant future. So he's going to try to play off of that, and Marvin Mims might get some playing time.
How you stop that is you have a big, strong guy coming straight down the middle.
Coming right down your throat.
Oh, that's what he said.
Coming right
That's
That's
what
what
he
I
said.
was saying.
I know.
Why did you make me say that?
You know what an announcer actually said that, right, Jay? There's like an actual game. And
Yeah,
there
we'll
was
play
a
it for you
there was a
sometime.
commentator that
No,
actually
Come
said,
right down your throat.
Yeah,
we've
coming right
been
down your
listening
throat.
to those.
I
videos.
showed her
They're
a compilation
so
of
bad.
that stuff.
Dude,
They're
some of those
so
are
funny.
crazy, yeah.
Oh man, there's
Dude, if
one.
I was like on TV and I said something like that, I would have to
Someone
be like,
said, like,
pause.
I would purposely
Big.
say shit like that.
Just
Yeah.
hit the pause button.
Yeah,
You're
just-
sitting there just geeking.
But all right, let's get through this real quick. Round 3, pick 67. Inside linebacker Drew Sanders came from Arkansas. He, before the draft, was seen as a late first, early second round pick who fell to the beginning of the third round. I don't know exactly why he fell. It really didn't give me much analysis on that. But they also did say he's listed as an inside linebacker, but he could transition to be an edge rusher. He did kind of both in college, so see how it goes. But I mean, if he actually does play like that late first round pick, the Broncos got a steal here in the third round.
Obviously, the biggest move of their offseason was getting Sean Payton, because last offseason they made all of the moves that they thought were necessary to be able to compete. Obviously, coaching was one of the biggest things for them this offseason, and I think that they do take an enormous jump based on where they were last season. But I still think that they have some work to do to be able to make the playoffs.
Yeah, definitely. I still don't think this defense is all that bad in Denver.
They're top
I
5
think they
to
have
me.
really good corners. I mean, PS2 is incredible.
Yep.
You might start talking about him being top 10 easy, I think, right now. Possibly top 5 you could start arguing.
Yep.
He's very good. Yeah, it's just that offense was horrible. And I think it did have to do a lot with Nathaniel Hackett.
Yeah.
So as long as Russell Wilson can kind of stop being so weird and cheesy and focus a little bit more on football.
I mean, it's an off-season thing that happened. He didn't say how much, but you can just tell physically he dropped some weight this offseason, trying to take his job, I think, a little more serious than this last year. I think that right out the gate last year, he was able to see how disastrous the offense was going to be, and he, I mean, in my opinion, didn't really give it the effort that it deserved. I mean, at this point in his career, he has to preserve his health. And if he didn't see true potential,
Right.
I don't blame him. I mean, obviously, you want everyone to be as competitive as they can be. But
Yeah, I think another thing was Javonte Williams going down with an injury so early in the year last year. Like, you
Yeah,
already
that
knew
was
that
real
pass
dumb.
offense wasn't great,
Mhm.
but then you lost your running back. That was a huge part of that offense, and then defenses could very easily scheme against that. And
All right, we got a little bit of time before we have to move on, so that way we stay under some time constraints. Yeah. But you want to ask your question?
oh yeah,
'Cause I think it's a good one.
you have questions?
I do have one for this one.
Welcome
was
to
actually-
Hunter's Trivia.
I was talking to my brother-in-law while we were on vacation a couple weeks ago, and this was the question that he posed to me, and I really liked it. He said, if the Broncos aren't at least 500 through 8 games, could they already look to move Russell Wilson and his treacherous contract?
Yeah, I mean, I guess at that point, you're realizing that Wilson's not the quarterback that you thought he was.
At least in this system.
I think a lot of people are kind of starting to realize that already of his performance last year. So, yeah, I mean, if you're below 500, just sucks. You gave up a lot for him.
Yeah.
That was an insane. Wow.
Yeah, but if you continue to pay him and have mediocre seasons, when obviously your defense would, we saw the statistics last year. Like, if the Broncos would have scored at least 20 points in all of their games, they would have had a way above 500 record. They would have been 11-6.
As he was mentioning before, obviously the defense had a lot of
And
lot to
only
do with
scored
that.
20 points.
Yep.
I mean, a lot of bad teams in the NFL can do that pretty easily. That's how historically bad the Broncos were. So if they're not above 500, I think you have to cut your losses. Hopefully maybe there's another struggling quarterback out there, or maybe you get somebody like Gardner Minshew who's going to be backing up Anthony Richardson, that maybe deserves another chance of being a starter. That's just a name that I read today that I can throw out there. Somebody like that to just come in and be a game manager, and hopefully something else happens. Because obviously Russell Wilson was not capable of that even last year's managing the game. He could not.
Obviously, the biggest thing, I mean, obviously, I think that they have better luck winning with Russell Wilson than they would have with Drew Lock.
But
Yeah.
But Russell Wilson, he's
always a but.
He's a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and that's what you were expecting getting him. at least make the playoffs, be competitive, and for that offense to be as lackluster as it was. Again, 8-10 games, if they're sitting below 500, especially several games below 500, I think that it might already be time to move on.
The only issue with that is, and they brought it up in the chat, who's going to want him?
If
On the
he's playing
Texans,
like
I take
ass,
him.
Nobody.
I would rather rock with CJ Stroud.
That's a good point. I forgot about him. I was still thinking Davis Mills.
Yeah.
Mills Mafia, baby.
Honestly, it's again.
Falcons?
That's
not
one
high on
realistic.
Desmond Ridder.
No, neither am I. So that was a realistic one for me.
I think that question, who was it that posed it?
HH4.
HH4, I think the answer to that question is we have to wait 8-10 games and see where the quarterback room in every, because, as unfortunate as it is, we have to call it like it is, and there's going to be some, again, ridiculous, outlandish injury that no one was expecting.
That's true. It happens every year.
And Russell Wilson could be that guy that comes in. And
Yeah, it makes sense. I don't know if like a contending team would take on that contract, but I guess at the same time, like if you're, say, I don't want to put a team out there because I don't want to put bad juju on like an injury, but if there's a contending team that's out there and like you really think like you're 5 games above 500 and you really think you make a Super Bowl push and you think Russell Wilson is better than your backup, maybe they send it, but I think the contract's just too fat.
Well, especially with
Back to the Raiders.
Yeah.
Oh, good one.
Jimmy G gets hurt, and they're doing better than they thought they were going to be.
Russell Wilson could be that guy.
Especially if
Hell no.
especially if
Thank you.
the Broncos are, below 500 and the Raiders are somehow still treading water. Again, don't want to put a specific team to it.
Yeah, I was gonna, but I
in
didn't
that
want to do that.
situation like that, I think that both teams, the Broncos and whoever they're trading him to, would both have a little bit of leverage against each other. And Russell Wilson, he could restructure that contract just so that he can have that change of scenery.
True.
Yeah, there is a world that happens too.
If they're, 2-6 after 8 games, and somehow we'll just say the Raiders in this instance are, 4-4, that's a better opportunity for him to finish out the season and make the playoffs than having to sometimes do what he did in Seattle and literally put the team on his back. And
Literally.
Literally. All right. Just for the sake of time, I think we should move on to record predictions, but I do think we had a very good conversation about all these things.
Yeah,
AFC West especially, just in its entirety. But
so we're going to do all 3.
yeah,
all 4.
Yeah, just go through your list,
Okay.
and then that way we can make short form content later.
What are we doing?
So,
This will just be us.
yeah.
All right,
Jay.
yeah, I'm gonna stand here and look good.
All right, so
Barbie.
for the AFC West, our record predictions, I'm gonna go first. I'm gonna say the Chiefs are gonna be 13-4 and the 3 seed in the AFC. Then I have the Chargers at 11-6, which would be good enough for the 7th seed in the AFC. Then I have the Raiders going 4-13, which is dead last or pretty damn close. Then I have the Broncos going 8-9, so a little bit better of an improvement from last year, but still the 10 seed in the AFC.
HH4, I'm picking up your vibe. You're not going to like my list because I'm assuming you're a Chargers fan.
Okay.
Winning this division, I have the Chiefs, and I have them going 14-3, being the 3 seed in the AFC. Coming in second in this division, I have the Broncos making a huge jump, being 9-8, being the 9 seed in the AFC, so missing the playoffs, but being the second team in this division. In third place in this division, I have the Chargers taking a step back and being 8-9, being the 11th seed, missing the playoffs. And the Raiders, I have going 3-14.
Yeah, sorry, Jenna. This is just us shitting on you.
Damon, is that a personal?
Well, just wait for your husband's predictions. So
Oh, jeez. I'm going to
Yeah,
be leaving
I
now.
was the best one. What do you mean?
Bye.
Kansas City Chiefs, I have going 15-2, not only winning this division, but winning the conference, getting that first round bye. Then in second place for the division, I have the Denver Broncos going 10-7 as the 8 seed, barely missing the playoffs. Then I would have the Chargers going 8-9 as well, just like Damon, as the 10 seed in the AFC. And last and certainly least, the Las Vegas Raiders going 2-15 and being actually the last seed, 16 out of 16 in the AFC.
Yeah, I got them as
Sleeping on the
15th
couch
seed in
tonight.
the
Yeah, me
AFC,
too.
so second to last. I think I have the
Couch.
Texans below them, but I also want a preference with the fact that, whatever, shake your head all you want. I hope you hurt your neck.
Oh my God.
Recipe
I do also want a preference that I said that the Chiefs are the third seed. We made these before we started like any of these episodes. So obviously with the Joe Burrow news coming out, if he's going to miss several games, I believe I have them as the 2 seed. So
There could be some movement.
yeah, they're probably I'll probably fix this before the start of the season. So
Yeah, we'll probably like have a recap and go
Yeah,
over all
yeah.
like all of our predictions. We can talk about the playoffs a little bit, like what we think is going to happen and whatnot. But yeah, there might be some fluctuation there. But as it stands right now, that's what we got them.
On to everyone's favorite portion of our episode.
You took the words right out of my mouth. The AFC West draft. So for those of you who have not been here, we are going to draft the top 12 players in the AFC West. Jay is our guest. She gets the first pick.
You already know I'm gonna go ahead and go with Patty Mahomes.
Yeah,
I
Corvette.
got to, even
Right.
with the ankle.
say Corvette.
Corvette.
Corvette, Pat Mahomes.
That's
Hop in the
Juju.
motherfucking jet like that.
But yeah, Patrick Mahomes being the number one in this.
Good pick.
Yeah, he
It's-
goes number one in
it's
anything.
clear
bro.
decided.
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a given.
You, I agree.
Alright.
Where are we going from there? We're going to you,
Sure.
then me, and then John.
Works for me. His name is my name
Jacob
too.
Eagle Hammerschmidt.
With the second pick in the first round, tight end, Travis Kelce.
Yep, I knew that was coming too.
Well, but you could probably predict this one as well. Then for the
Oh,
third
yeah.
pick, I will go with wide receiver from the Raiders, Devontae Adams.
No bias there. of course.
No, he's not a
bias.
Packer.
He used to be. No.
He'll be a Packer Hall of Famer for sure.
All right, since I got back-to-back picks, I'm going to make this quick and easy with the first pick. Fourth round. Oh, I said that backwards.
Fourth round.
Fourth round. Yeah, we don't even do 4 rounds. Round 1, pick 4. I'm going to take quarterback Justin Herbert from the Los Angeles Chargers. And then I'm going to turn around and also take Mr. PS2 Patrick Surtain from the Denver Broncos.
With my second pick in the AFC West draft, I will be taking, in my opinion, the number 1 safety in all of the NFL. From the Chargers, Derwin James.
Let's see.
Interesting. I didn't even have him on my list.
What is wrong with you?
No, I mean,
Casual.
no, right.
HH4, roast him in the chat. You know he's the greatest safety in the league. Man's couldn't even remember his
Minka
name.
Fitzpatrick is better.
Not true. He's second best.
I'm gonna go defensive tackle for the Chiefs, Chris Jones.
Are you
If he even
flipping
plays.
kidding me?
That's who I was going to take.
I
if didn't
literally
take
have
Derwin
him
James.
up right here. You
I didn't
bitch.
even see that.
And he-
He did. He definitely did. I
He's
watched him look
looking.
over.
Yeah.
He's
He was
like,
panicking
You
on his
actually
phone.
watched
She's
the-
I
gonna
was
be
watching you, yeah.
putting him on, so I'm gonna say it first. All right. Well, shit.
You get 2 picks,
get-
by the
yeah.
way.
Me?
Yeah,
Yep,
you get
snake
back-to-back picks.
All right. I'm gonna go with Josh Jacobs, my
Okay.
homeboy on the Raiders. He did
Respect.
well last
Leading
year.
rusher.
Yep.
last season.
So we're gonna go ahead
RB1.
and pop that baby on there, and I get one more.
Take
Yep.
your other Raider
This will be
boy.
your last.
Oh my god!
That's pretty good.
I did it again.
Sounds
Wait,
auto-tuned. I
I
don't know how you
can't
do
pick
that.
2. I had
Yeah,
to
take
pick.
another Raider.
I
do it.
can pick 2 quarterbacks no.
Right.
That's
I mean,
stupid.
You don't want to pick any
Nah,
I
of
don't
the
think you want to.
quarterbacks.
No, no, it's Jimmy. You don't know what
No,
he's gonna do yet.
Jimmy. No, Jimmy, no.
What about? Oh, he's new, huh? Sky Moore.
No,
No,
you're
no.
thinking too hard. Take another Raider. Defensive side.
She said, she's like, "Oh, Raiders."
Chandler Jones. Boom.
Okay,
That was-
that's not what I was thinking.
But that works.
We're just gonna go with it.
That works for me.
We just got him.
Hunter clearly wanted the other Raider on the defensive side.
I know. He already took mine.
The other one.
Who is it?
It's not even who I'm
Okay.
You know who we're talking about, though?
Yeah.
Okay. Just,
I just threw a name out there, I'm done.
who are you going to take?
Keenan Allen.
Fair enough.
Head with confidence.
With my final pick in the AFC West draft, I am going to take who I tried to get Jay to take. I'll be taking Mad Max Crosby, defensive end, Las Vegas Raiders.
And with
Damn, I got 2 Raiders.
and with the final
Welcome,
pick,
Damon.
Shit.
Welcome.
I try to take somebody from each team, but that's not going to happen this one because with the last pick, I'm going to take defensive end Joey Bosa from the Los Angeles Chargers.
I think that he could have fallen off the top 12, but
I don't think so.
We'll see.
you're allowed to have a wrong opinion. That's fine.
I hate
I love
that.
when you.
I hate when he says that.
You're allowed to have an opinion, and it's allowed to be
It's
wrong.
okay to be. I'm like, I'm gonna go now.
So, just some honorable mentions that are on my list. Juwan Taylor, tackle, just came over. Chiefs. Khalil Mack, I think he's a little old to be on the top 12. He's probably still top 20 in this division.
Austin Eckler, running back, Chargers.
Max Crosby didn't go, right?
No, he
Yeah, I
picked
took
up.
Oh, you took him.
Yeah, Mad Max Crosby. Justin Simmons, safety, Denver. Very good.
Sean Slater, tackle from the Chargers.
This
Asante
division-
Samuel Jr.
This
corner.
division definitely isn't as deep as the AFC North, but I think
Still
it's
pretty
close.
deep.
I think it's close when it comes to position
Still got a
players.
lot of ballers.
Let's go. But yeah, let us know. I mean, you're going to see this on Fortune Sports Crew on all social medias. So you just got to check us out. And then also, if you're here, don't forget to subscribe. But you can let us know who you think won the draft.
It was me. It always is me. But if you got to make them feel better for once, since I have won all the other past drafts, you can vote for them, make them feel.
I definitely won the AFC North. It's not even questionable. But
I got the 2 best
All right,
players in
boys,
that
simmer
division.
down, simmer down. We
That's
can
it.
get the
Whoa, whoa.
ruler out later.
Oh,
Just checking.
Best defensive end in the league and the best running back in the league.
I win that.
Okay, you're right. I was like, no doubt.
Well, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah,
Yeah, thanks
I
for
really
coming on the
appreciate
show.
you.
yeah, we're happy to have
If you guys want to see more content or like request like some merch ideas too, you can drop them in the comments. I know everybody is dying to have Damon's hat.
Yeah, that's true.
I
So
thought you were
just
going to talk about
think-
the embarrassing my face.
I think we got
t-shirt.
some like we're gonna start thinking about like winter
Yeah.
sweatshirts and hoodies and all that shit. So
But football season is
That'd be good.
approaching, and for most people around the country, except us, it gets cold in places.
Arizona
in like
is
a couple weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Alright.
might get down to like the 40s here one day.
It'll get down to
in
30s.
the heart
Really?
of December.
in the middle of the night, like 2 a.m. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
I
I
think,
mean, during the summer it's 100 degrees at midnight. So
yeah, I guess you take the best of all worlds, I suppose. But anybody else have anything before we conclude yet another great episode of A Football's Destiny presented by Fortune Sports?
I just want to say thank you to the chat for being so active today.
Yeah,
Do appreciate that.
Yeah.
HH4, you're the homie. You went ham. Oh, last thing, I wanted to touch on this earlier, but Russell Wilson will be remembered for the worst pick all time in Super Bowl history.
It's true.
That's
Yeah.
That's gonna overshadow him
Not
for a while.
entirely his fault, I will say. The play call was, but also as the quarterback, you have full control of what actually gets called in the huddle, and they didn't just hand the ball off to Marshawn Lynch.
Right.
But he did also.
I
throw
mean,
the
I
ball.
understand it was a quick slant, so you're not going to really read it either, but he just stared down that one receiver the entire
Oh, yeah.
time.
for the
he,
3.5 seconds he had
Yeah.
the ball.
he did not think about that ball going anywhere else but except in Malcolm Butler's hands.
Yo, he said just subscribe. Lit.
Lead
Hey,
kitty.
yo.
Appreciate it.
But yep. I think that's all for now. So until next time,
We
take
love
care of
you.
yourselves.
We love you all.
Good
Stay
night
safe.
and lights out.
Toodles.
Deuces and smooches.
I'm just way too hot now, way too hot. Pull up with the top down, the top down.